So a fellow filmmaker contacted me and asked me to make him a weapon for a film that he's working on. It closest thing it resembles is kind of like an inverse sickle or a Japanese kama, and it's kind of a bare bones film project. So to reduce the cost of materials as much as I could, I went out and bought this angled piece of just plain steel, and I'm going to use this and try and turn it into a weapon. So the first thing I had to do was take the angled piece of steel and make it into a flat piece of steel. This took a couple of heats, but once I had enough of the sheet straightened, I used my hacksaw to lop off the excess. Because this was mild steel, it was not difficult to do, but I also cut it while it was still too hot to touch, hence all of the sparks. Regrettably, I left the steel in the forge for too long and succeeded in burning a hole through the middle. I attempted to make the best of it by removing the most mangled section and taking the other half and making it into the handle of the scythe. I tried various ways to upset the steel in such a way that it would make the grip portion of the weapon, but my attempts failed both utterly and completely. So I decided to cut my losses and make the curvy bit I had created into the back spike. I drew the steel out as much as I could to try and get the blade to the desired width. It's worth noting that the thinner it got, the quicker it cooled down. The thin blade also heated quicker and ran the risk of melting if not carefully observed. So here you can see the outline of the size that I drew out with the Sharpie. I used my hacksaw to remove the excess steel and then used a file to smooth it to shape. To file the concave curve of the back spike, I used a half-round mill bastard file. To make the handle tang, I took the remaining piece of angled steel that I had and sawed it down the center about an inch or two. The saw is smoking here because I oiled it down with WD-40 for lubrication. I finished cutting the handle to shape and then I hammered the two planes of the angle together. To affix the tang to the blade, I hot fit them together and then drilled out 3 holes to run pins through. I also drilled out the pinholes that would hold the handle material in place. To make pins, I cut a couple of nails down and then peened them over with, you guessed it, a ball peen hammer. So here's what the scythe looked like after I was done with it. I cleaned up the blade as best I could with my files and emery cloth, but once the filmmaker picked it up, he polished the blade further on a grinder. He also made a wood grip for it. If and when this film is ever made, I will post a link to it at the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember to be more Viking.